If you want to build a scheduler that is very good when it comes to response time, then you might think about round robin. Round robin schedulers are quite popular. They're actually useful. They are used um, in, well, they are used even in Linux in one way or the other. And the idea is basically to have a job run for a time slice. So you have if you each job gets some CPU time, then gets evicted. Uh, you have context switching, and you go to the other job. So suppose that you have 5 tasks. The first one starts running and it's pretty long, and you have a time slice of 1 millisecond, which is also sometimes this is your time slice, also called the quanta, the time quantum. And then you basically run it for 1 millisecond, and then you context switch to the second one, you context switch to the third one after 1 millisecond. After 1 millisecond, you again context switch to the fourth one, again you context switch to the fifth one, and then you start from the beginning. Now, if any of these jobs finish, then whatever remains will just run for the entirety of time until new jobs basically arrive. Then you go back to round robin. But right now, for example, if suppose jobs tasks 2, 3, 4, 4, and 5 are completed, that basically means that there is no reason to divide the rest of task one into smaller pieces. So if these are 3 jobs arriving at the same time, they are A, B, and C. They are equal in size. Each one of them is basically 10 time units. Actually 5 time units. Sorry. Then if you use round robin, you will basically allocate with each one getting 1 time unit, 1 second or 1 millisecond, 1 microsecond, depending on how large uh, the job is. But you basically have a quanta of 1. Then you would run job A, then you would run job B, then you would run job C, and then you will go over. A, B, C, go over. A, B, C, go over. Um, and if you're in a supermarket that operates that way, that means that the guy at the supermarket will just scan 1 item for you, or maybe 2 items. If your quanta is 2, then scan for the next customer 2 items, then for the third customer 2 items, and goes on forever until he's done. Until any of you is done, then they can leave. So if you look at the average response time for round robin in this case, so A has to wait for for 0 time units. B has to wait for basically 1 time quanta, 1, and C has to wait for 2 time quantas where A and B run, so 2. So your average response time for round robin is 1. If you calculate the same average response time for SJF, or for even shortest STCF, you will basically find that if all 3 of them are equal, then you add 0 plus 5 plus 10. Basically, since all 3 are equal, you're not going to evict A for B or C because they have equal time, and once A starts running, it will have a shorter time to completion. So A runs to entirety, B runs to entirety, and then C starts. So it's 0 plus 5 plus 10 divided by 3, so it's equal to 5. So here's another question for you to think about. How can you make round robin behave exactly like FIFO?